Okay, guys, I'm back. So we're on the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve, part 2. It's still 5/16/2026 on God's physical calendar. We're still at 1/12. God's spiritual calendar, 7/12. God's true Gregorian 12/1 now. Okay, so let's see. I'm not sure where I left off. We're going to go right here. So after Jesus, so make sure you watch part 1 because you can get what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what the fruit is actually in the garden and how it leads to like Song of Solomon. If you go look at the fruit of Song of Solomon, you will see what fruit actually is. And this is why Adam had a lot of trees to choose from, because when Jesus wants us to procreate the new Jerusalem in heaven, this is why, he uses consummation to bring the bride in. Adam had a lot of trees to choose from because he had a lot of people to choose from. Dang it, your phone signed out again. Sorry, I have to keep paying attention. She doesn't kill me. I'm using her phone so I can record. But anyway, so duplicate spirits, this is why they didn't recognize Elijah who had already come. You have to understand these are mysteries of heaven that he's unsealing now in Daniel 12. So after Jesus created the masterpiece by hand, he created another Adam and Eve for the fallen line, because remember, they were created in heaven with stardust first, to resurrect the fall in the garden. He also did that because they were trying to steal Eve's light power. You have to understand, Eve was created with a resonating light. It's the seed that goes inside all of his people. When you say the name Jesus Christ or Yeshua HaMashiach, that light is inside his people, and then God turns that seed and makes that seed grow when you speak the name Jesus or Yeshua HaMashiach. And this is why he also uses a lot of hate and evil for good in this fallen world, because that spreads, and then that spreads the seed that he can make grow. Okay, so he also did that because they were trying to steal Eve's light power, because they knew that she was one of the souls that were created, and that has a lot of power of God, and they were trying to be their own God, so they were trying to steal her light. Basically, they were pretending to be her duplicates of Adam in the garden, right? Because that's how he's going to procreate the new Jerusalem using all these suits. These fleshly bodies were in their suits, okay? But they were tricking Eve, but God needed the fall to happen, so this was his plan to let that happen, because we all agreed to save the fallen line when we fell here, because all the creation started at heaven. So watch video 1 to understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so they were created, and that has a lot of power of God, and they were trying to be their own God, so they were trying to steal her light. But because God knows everything, he created the creations beforehand, before the fall in the garden, because the fall was set up because he needed a bad seed to happen, because he was luring evil in so he could destroy it in the lake of fire. So when Lilith and Ishtar, because they're the same spirit, they're duplicates of one another, because they're the same spirit, tried to have sex with Eve, with Adamus and Lucifer, also the same spirit, who was not their rib. Before she tasted the fruit, he switched her out using the double inheritance spirit with that one he created to resurrect the fallen line by using the spirit on top. So you have to understand, he created the masterpiece in heaven that cannot have an opposite of attraction, because he created it by hand. So those frequencies, because the laws of physics did not require an opposite of attraction. So he made another one. This time he spoke it or thought the process, and he made another Adam and Eve in heaven, and that is the one that he used for the fallen line to keep our original spirits pure and heaven, right? This is why our duplicate spirits are here, and we've been doing this to battle ready, to train to fight the real enemy that were created due to the opposites of attraction in heaven, outside the heaven. So this is like the assimilation that we're going through, which is why you have the Mandela effect and how the worlds are merging together and all of that stuff, and God's trying to show you his true creations. Okay, so he created them for the fallen line by using the spirit on top. That way the masterpiece stayed pure because of the two souls wearing God's righteous clothes, because he put the power inside them to bring them back to life, because they were made in a serpent world. And Jesus had to put life into them with his breath so they could be different than all of the serpents all around them. See, they didn't have his creations, so they had to mock these creations, because what the archons that fell had was not the full creation, because God wanted his soulmate formula to stay pure. So this is why he made another Adam and Eve for the fallen line, but this time through a thought process or speaking, not made by hand. So you see, when you're making something by hand, you have different frequencies. The only frequencies that creates the opposition of science through laws of physics having to do with creation has to do with speaking something in existence through frequencies, or thinking something in existence through frequencies. And that is because when God was preparing something with his hands, he never had a a thought process with it. It just came supernaturally, and this is why he's able to block our thoughts. So when Jesus speaks to you, sometimes he blocks your thoughts, so you just hear the Holy Spirit speaking to you, because it's God's Spirit that raised Jesus Christ from the dead. And I claim Jesus Christ came in the flesh, blood, and died on the cross and rose on the third day, and that's how you know whether it's the Spirit of God versus the Spirit of Antichrist. Jesus taught me that. And this is why he's able to block our thoughts supernaturally when he speaks to us and pours his Spirit out on us, because he did the same thing to himself when he was creating the masterpiece. And that's because he didn't want an opposite of attraction to happen, right? He just spoke that through me. Okay, this is why he gave Cassie from Faith Over Fear 44 the revelation of no adultery. There is no adultery word, and it was man-made, and that's why the real word of adultery in heaven is Alamistree. Mystery. You get it? All a mystery, because it's all a mystery because he switched out the spirit, so the true pure line of Eve never fell. So that way, when anyone sleeps with somebody other than their soulmate who is not their rib, God switches out their spirit. So you're always sleeping with your rib, and that's why there's no adultery. This is proof that the adultery word is man-made just for the end time, and this is why David was accused of adultery, and this is why David is the key of David for the Philadelphia church to be able to get into heaven, because it all stems from the lie from the enemy that all started in the garden. When Jesus switched them out to keep the light inside Eve, for that seed to go inside all of his people, but also so he could resurrect his people from the fallen line that fell inside the second heaven. So don't you see? They changed the word, the English language, all that stuff. God's creations in Daniel 12, where he said, seal this book up, is his holy heavenly Bible that has never been corrupted by man, just like it on earth that is in heaven. Do you not think that Jesus would have his own holy Bible, that he never let man mess up lying scribes? Why do you think in Revelation 22 it talks about if you add any words or change these words, you will get all the plagues and all that stuff? It's because he knew the lying scribes were going to change stuff and take books out. This is why Jude only has one chapter, but it says chapter 1. If there's no chapters after Jude, why would it say chapter 1? You see, there's a lot of mysteries that people don't realize, and it all stems from the books that they've taken out, the Apocryphas. Now, a lot of the Apocryphas are true, but there's some things in there that were done by man that are not true. This is why you have to go to Jesus Christ himself to get these mysteries. But this is also why adultery on man-made is actually like choosing the world over God and idolizing the world over God, right? It has nothing to do with that. This is why Jesus said you don't know the scriptures of the resurrection and no marriages and all that stuff. He was talking about fleshly marriages. They took out all of that stuff so you would be confused. And this is why the key, the open door, is the Philadelphia church, the faith church, because all you have to do is believe in Jesus Christ, that he died and finished all sins on the cross, and he received his heart of flesh, and then he activates that heart of flesh through the wineskin process, through purging and cleansing. Why do you think David, the key of David, was used inside the Philadelphia faith church, but then the enemy is the one, accusing him of adultery and killing his son, right? Which God was it? There's two fathers. There was one father, and then there was the opposition of science father, right? This is why in Job, it shows you the entire thing about the Bible being set up this way, but they changed the order of the books. This is why the devil is able to pick on Job and do all of those things except for kill him, and this is why God restores Job in the end, because it's foreshadowing exactly what Jesus is going to do. The Father in heaven who prepared our homes in heaven. It's Father and the Son all in one together in the Spirit, but separated in the flesh. So there's so many mysteries. Keep watching the parts, because Jesus is speaking. I claim he's my Messiah, my best friend. I love him more than anything in this world. He brought me my Adam, my soulmate, and my life is wonderful because Jesus is in it. So if you do not know your Lord and Savior Jesus, it is time to call on him right now, because things are getting ready. We're all here for battle, training to fight the real enemy, and all of this is going down. So I love you. You can find more community posts of all the first phase and the second phase and everything that Jesus is speaking through me for the declarations of the New Jerusalem in the heavens on my community posts on YouTube, Seek Heavenly Things, and all the videos as well. And also the 12 is putting out things. It's not just 12 people, it's the 12 birth lines of the original kingdom. Okay, Running out of time, I claim Jesus Christ came in the flesh, bled and died on the cross, and rose on the third day. God set it up in the heavens where he did not allow the Antichrist spirit to say those words, so you know who's speaking from God and who's not. Okay, I love you so much. God bless.